It just like hits us in the face like a ton of bricks. Motherhood can feel like one of those times. What made motherhood so much easier, you even know who you want to become. Happier I became so quickly. It doesn't create an emotional response because you feel solid and convicted within yourself. I have wanted to make this video for so long, way longer than I would like to admit, but hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. When we feel lost in motherhood, it's often because we're trying to run a life where we're a mom, but as a maiden woman, as the version of us that we were before becoming a mom. And I think when you're going through that transition, it can be so overwhelming, it can be scary, it's all new, and that's not a bad thing. It actually gets to be such an expansive journey that gets to evolve you, not just as a mom, but as a human being. And we get to see this journey of losing ourselves as actually a way of finding ourselves. So in this video, I am going to be sharing with you actually 7 steps, which are ultimately the 7 things that allow me to really find myself and really allow me to step into the best version of me in motherhood, because that definitely wasn't my reality when I just had my daughter. I was an absolute hot mess, and I wish I could say it was for 6 weeks, but it was for about 6 months, probably longer. I feel like I can look back and be like, wow, I've been on such a journey, and these are the things that I did, and these are the things that ultimately it took for me to really evolve into the version of myself that I am today, but also to evolve into the role as a mother and actually embrace that, which has allowed motherhood to become so much easier, so much more natural, and so much lighter. I do just want to say we have like a skylight, I think it's called, so I'm like working with natural light, so if it goes really bright and then a bit dull, like just bear with me. Hopefully it's not too distracting and you can just really take away as much goodness as you can from this video. Number 1, surrender and accepting change. I think we're so quick to jump to wanting to change, wanting to find ourselves, wanting to feel better, wanting to feel like ourselves again, but we haven't actually mastered actually just surrendering and accepting, okay, this is where I am right now. This is how my life looks right now. That was a big one for me. I was really like trying to navigate motherhood as a maiden woman, and I was in denial that my life had completely changed. I was in denial that my day-to-day life had changed, that my routines had changed, that I couldn't do this strict, rigid 1-hour morning routine and then go for my walk and then go to the gym. Like, life had changed. And before I could actually adapt and create a new morning routine, I had to just surrender and be like, this is where I'm at. This is where my life is at. This is where my lifestyle is at. This is where our routine or lack of routine is at. I just had to surrender and be like, it's okay. Things have changed. I've changed. My body's changed. Things have changed, and that's okay, and that's good, and that's life, and that's evolution. And I think that there are many points in people's lives where we have these big life changes and transitions, and it just like hits us in the face like a ton of bricks. And I definitely think that motherhood can feel like one of those times. I wish I just would have surrendered a little bit sooner so that I could just embrace being a mom. When you actually let go and surrender, there is a lot more space and room to then evolve and redecide. When you surrender, there's less resistance, and all of a sudden, all of that becomes lighter and easier because you're not resisting where you're at. You just surrendered to it, and therefore it's a lot easier to change from there. Number 2 is allowing yourself to evolve. It's okay that things have changed. It's okay that life has changed. It's okay that maybe your body shape has changed. It's okay that maybe your friendships feel like they need to change. It's all okay, and I think that there is a lot of change that comes with motherhood. What made motherhood so much easier was to accept that that version of myself was not going to be supportive in this season. And when I stopped fighting that and resisting that and shaming myself for that and just accepted it, the happier I became so quickly when I finally allowed myself to change and allowed myself to evolve. Number 3 is detoxing from social media and outside influences. This is huge. I remember just like staying off social media for a bit, distancing myself from certain accounts, certain people that were influencing the way I thought I wanted to run my life and the way I thought I wanted to be on a daily basis. Instead, I was like, I just need to block everything out and just connect to me. Connect to what are my priorities? What does success look like to me? Not just on a big scale, but on a day-to-day scale. Like, what does a successful day-to-day look like for me? And again, like I said in the previous point, like I had to really evolve that so that I wasn't feeling like I'm constantly letting myself down because I couldn't meet the expectations of my previous maiden self. Instead, I just blocked out the noise of what everyone else was doing and what everyone else was up to, and instead just connected back to my authentic self of like, what things make me happy, what things actually bring me joy, what things actually make me feel good, what things actually make me feel successful. And I realized so many of the things that I thought I needed or wanted to be happy, I actually didn't need or necessarily want. And when you actually block out the noise, even if you do like a 24, 48 hour detox from social media, you will find you will just feel so much more clear and so much more connected to self. And I actually started to realize that everything I had right in front of me was what I had always dreamed of and wanted, and I wasn't fully embracing that and feeling that because I was too busy looking out there instead of actually looking at like what was right there in front of me. And that was such a big lesson, and even that in itself allowed me to really find myself because I'm realizing who I actually am, and what I actually care about, and what is important to me, and what is a priority for me right now, and what's going to be a priority later down the line. When you have clarity within yourself, you feel so much more confident and so much more solid within yourself. I think when we think about feeling lost, I think a lot of that is the confidence piece. But when you can connect to yourself and you're like, cool, I know where I'm at, I'm okay with where I'm at, I know what and who I need and want to evolve into, and I know what's a priority for me, and I know what success looks like for me, and I know what happiness looks like for me, I think there's so much confidence and conviction that can come with that actually when you then reconnect with the real world and the outside world and social media, you're not so triggered by it, you're not so bothered by it. It doesn't affect you the same way because you're like, oh, I'm so happy for them and that's so cool for them, and that doesn't affect or change the way I feel about me. It doesn't create an emotional response because you feel solid and convicted within yourself because you now know yourself a little bit better. Hopefully from that point you can really take away, okay, where do you need to start, or what would feel right for you to start with, like just distancing yourself a little bit from the external influences and just connect a little bit more to you. That might be meditation, that might be just having some quiet time, that might be having a bubble bath, that might be getting out in nature, that might be when you're on your next drive, don't put the radio on, don't put a podcast on, just be quiet and listen and connect in. And the more comfortable we can get in the silence and sitting with ourselves, the more clarity we'll actually receive. I really hope that that point lands because that was huge for me. Number 4 is more of like the fun part. So for me, this journey really looks like a lot of letting go of, a lot of realizations, a lot of surrendering, like a lot of discomfort in a way. And then after we've sort of detoxed and like just like connected back to ourselves, these next points are more of like the exciting fun part where you get to play into, okay, well, who do I want to become? So I know that I felt lost and now I'm kind of okay with feeling lost. I'm okay that I'm not who I once was, but who do I want to now become? So step 4 is really defining your higher self. It's defining that next version of you. You're not who you were before, and we're okay with that. And you're not yet who you want to become, but do you even know who you want to become? Do you even know who you want to become? So this is where that quiet time, that self-connection, journaling, visualization, these kind of things are going to be really amazing tools during this period where you're defining who you want to become. Do you want to be more confident? Do you want to feel more joyous? Do you want to laugh more? Do you want to be calmer? Do you want to be more crazy? You know, like how do you want to feel? So how do you want to look? How do you want to feel? And how do you want your life set up to be? And then from there, you can really work out, okay, who do I need to become in order to be that person? And that actually leads me into step 5, which is really about defining, okay, I can picture my higher self, I can picture my next level self, I can picture what she looks like and how she feels, and she's bubbly and she's chill and she's calm and she's laughing. Like I can picture that version of me, and I can picture our lifestyle, and I can picture that. Who do I need to become? How does she be? How does she act? What's her organization? How does she dress? What does her day-to-day look like? It's really just about exploring, okay, like I know who I want to be. I know what I want life to look like. Now, what steps do I need to take in each aspect of my life? So really defining that, getting clear on that, and starting to take action towards that. That's number 6, taking action. We need to take action. I really believe the little things are the big things because the little things add up to the big things. So really not downplaying the little things you do for yourself. Even if you don't have the capacity or time to spend an hour journaling today, what if you just sat with yourself for 2 minutes whilst your baby was feeding, and you just sat there and you just connected with yourself for a second, and you said 3 positive affirmations to yourself? You're then 3 positive affirmations closer to being that bit kinder to yourself, that more confident, that more convicted, and that more of that person. And those 3 affirmations every single day, they all add up. And then finally, the 7th piece of this, the last step, actually requires self-awareness and self-honesty, and not self-judgment and not self-shame. I don't know if that's a word. Is self-shame a word? It's about being able to be a neutral observer of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions every single day, to notice where you're not being those things that you said you wanted to be, and when you're not doing the things you want to do. And so what I actually feel is a lot more powerful and speeds up the process so much more is actually looking at like, ooh, where am I not being that? Where am I not doing what I said I wanted to do? Where am I saying I want to be a present mum, but when I'm around my baby, I'm actually sitting scrolling on my phone because they're too young to notice or tell me otherwise, right? That was a big one for me. And that took a lot of self-responsibility and self-honesty to be like, you say you want to be present, but are you present? Are you really present? Where in my life am I not being present? And I was clocking all these different places in my life where I wasn't being present. I'm like, oh my God, I thought I'm a present mum. I'm actually not a present mum. I'm not present here. I'm not present there. I'm not present there. I'm not present there. Cool. I'm not going to shame myself for that. I'm not going to beat myself up for that. I'm just going to observe that. I'm going to notice that. I'm going to take that as information. And next time I'm with my daughter, for example, and I start looking at my phone, I'm going to go, oh, you're not being present. Okay, put my phone down. It may take 100 times noticing when you're not being present to actually start integrating presence. And for me, going on this journey of really looking at like, where am I not being the thing I want to be? This final piece is about self-awareness and ongoing self-awareness. And when you can get to a place where you are able to be self-aware and observe the things you're not so proud of, when you can observe them without judging them and without shaming yourself for them, you're gonna learn so much from them. And when we learn so much from them, that's where we get to change. We can't change what we're not aware of. So if we're not allowing ourselves to actually even notice or be aware of these habits and these things we're doing and the way we're not being the person we wanted to be, how are we actually supposed to become the person we want to be? Because we're always going to result back to these little habits and subconscious patterns that we have. A big piece of this that has been so transformative on my journey has been looking at like, oh, this is who I want to be. These are the steps I know I need to take to get there. Where am I not doing those things? And where am I not being that person? And observing that and taking that information and using it to redirect me and get me back on track with exactly who I need to be. Finding yourself and stepping into the best version of yourself, and just evolution, like, it's just an ongoing journey. And that doesn't mean it's like ongoing upwards. It's up and down. There's ebbs and flows. There's moments of more learning, moments of more grace and slowness and just letting myself off the hook, and then there are moments of more discipline and self-honesty and like holding myself to a high standard. I don't think we're ever actually there. I'm definitely not fully there, but these are the things that have helped me along the way to feel a little bit more me, to just feel a little bit more content within myself and happier within myself, and as a result find myself in motherhood and embrace motherhood so much more. I hope these tips have helped you guys. If you like this video and you took something away from it, please let me know below your thoughts, any other questions, or any other videos that you'd like me to create. And I would appreciate it so much if you clicked the subscribe button, because we have another video coming very soon and I wouldn't want you to miss it. Bye guys.